From R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, this is The Retirement.
When you retire, if you want an exciting life, you need a boring investment strategy.
Matters.
If you enter into retirement without a plan for income, you're not retired, you're simply unemployed.
Podcast.
Hey, this is your host, Dale Smothers, and you're listening to the Retirement Matters Podcast. My hope is that you will find the information you need in every single show on how to do one of the three things: either saving more money more efficiently, planning better for your future where you can live in retirement worry-free, or my favorite, how you can live a happy and fulfilled life in this life you have been given. We know that your time is valuable and we appreciate you spending it listening to this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. On this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, we dive into an article that was written by Schwab's Financial Research Center, and it talks about the three most common mistakes made by retirees, by a gentleman named Rob Williams, who at the time was the vice president for financial planning. Rob Williams is a CFP and publishes a lot of articles about retirement planning, specifically for Charles Schwab and their research center. And I'm going to just dive into all three of these mistakes and tell you a little bit about how you can avoid those mistakes creeping into your portfolio. Of course, we would love an opportunity to help you in building the three-mistake-proof portfolio. Building the retirement atlas is what our objective would be, navigating all five worlds of retirement and avoiding these three common mistakes with many more in the process. Now, at the beginning of the show, you'll hear me discuss our podcast review process. We have recently revamped that, and we would love to have an honest review and a rating of this show. If you listen to this show and you have not yet given us a rating, at the very least, we would very much appreciate you rating this show and going ahead and dropping a review if you feel like it. It helps us reach more people, and the more people we can reach, the more we know that we will help change this world around us. And with every life we touch, we know that we are fulfilling our vision of a world that retires in a way where they can go and then impact futures and enrich the lives of those around them. We believe that a retiree who has less stress and worry about their money can be a better grandpa, can be a better son or a better dad, or be a more present spouse. And we believe that it starts with our team, and that is why we do what we do. We love talking to you each and every time you get on this podcast. And if there's anything that you would like to hear just a little bit more about, we would love to know what that is. Send us an email, contact@rdswealth.com. Without further ado, let's get to this week's episode, the three retirement income mistakes to avoid. Enjoy the show. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well and you are ready to start discussing all things retirement matters. This morning, we are coming to you with the three most made mistakes of retirees. Charles Schwab recently put their Schwab Center for Financial Research on a task of amassing the top three mistakes that retirees make as they are heading into or just entering into retirement. We're going to discuss all three of those and how you can avoid those, specifically if you are on what we call the income side of the retirement mountain. Now, we've got a lot to unpack here in this show, and I do want to get to our positive focus. If you have not heard this part of our show before, it is the part where we come to you with either positive news or positive insights on how to think about the world differently, and if applied correctly, how to change the world around you one person at a time. I was looking through our podcast on Apple Podcast, which is one of the platforms where we hold former shows and some exclusive interviews with professionals. We are in the process of revamping this entirely, and one of the things that we have done recently is we have opened up the section where you can put reviews in, and marketing has taken a look to see maybe why some of the reviews that have been posted have not actually shown. But of the ones that are showing on the Apple Podcast, there was one that specifically stood out to me, and it made me feel good, even though it was not a compliment by any means. It was a one-star review, one of the only one-star reviews that we have that I'm aware of. And it was a one-star review that had a complaint. And the complaint was this. Simply put, she did not like that we were pushing our religion, quote unquote, pushing our religion on the listening audience. Now, if you've ever heard this show before, you know that's just not true. I mean, I'm never pushing anything on any individual, but what I am proud of and what I will not be ashamed of is my belief in Jesus Christ. So what I also know is that in order to be able to post a review on Apple Podcast, you have to have listened to a certain number of episodes, which tells me that she listens, even though she wanted to voice her opinion. So thank you for the listening. And hopefully what we say here will change your life in a positive manner. My belief in Jesus Christ guides everything that I do, from the moment I wake up to the moment that I lay down. My desire is to be more kingdom-minded, not of my own, but of His. And I hope that if you're listening and you were the one that posted that comment, that you too can find your way to that truth, that you can find your way to Christ. And He and myself would welcome you with open arms. Now, I will tell you, our positive focus this week was already going to be about not letting people define your worth, and it comes to you with a story. You've probably heard me tell this story before. I have used this exact illustration before, but it's been a few years back, and so I'm going to pull one out of the archives here, and I hope you enjoy it. It is about a teacher who stood in front of her classroom, and she pulls out of her pocket a fresh, crisp $100 bill. It had a little bit of a hue to it. As you are aware, the $100 bill has got a unique look to it, and it was very stiff and rigid, as if it had just been cut from the mint itself. And she stood in front of her class and asked, "Who wants this bill?" Well, naturally, almost every hand in the room went up, and the ones that were going higher and higher, you could tell they really wanted this $100 bill. She said, "Okay, everyone put your hands down." She takes the $100 bill. She wads it up. She wads it up and throws it on the ground. She stomps on the $100 bill. She opens it back up and then wads it back up again, throws it down, and stomps on the $100 bill. And once she had done all of that, she takes the $100 bill, throws it into an empty trash can over in the corner, and then says, "Who wants that $100 bill now?" Well, every single hand went back up. And with this, she said to all of the classmates, "I want you to turn and look at who still desires that $100 bill. Look at who has their hand up now." And everyone began to kind of giggle because everyone wants the $100 bill. She said, "But it's been through a lot in the last few seconds. It's been crumbled. It's been trampled. It's even been told it is trash. Yet its value is still $100. And she used this as an analogy to show that even though you may be broken, even though you may have went through some difficult times, you may have felt as if you were trampled or crumbled beneath the weight of it all. Maybe you have even been told you are trash, useless, placed in a position that would essentially deem you as worthless. Your value is still intact. There is nothing about this life until you are dead that can change your value to the right people. And if people see you as non-valuable or disposable, then they're the wrong people. The ones who matter do not care, and the ones who care do not matter. And this is the positive mindset that I want you to go into this coming week with. I want you to embrace this story that has a lot of similarities to real life and realize that your value comes from within. And again, the people who care about you the most see that value and they want you no matter what you have been through. We're going to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump into the 3 mistakes that retirees make according to the Schwab Financial Research Department. And this is going to be very interesting for you if you find yourself close to the retirement income phase, or maybe you're just past the age of 59 and a half. These are mistakes that you need to be sure you are avoiding as you approach retirement, and definitely once you have entered retirement, making sure that these mistakes do not become your own. Well, stick around and we're going to help you understand how to make sure you do not fall victim to these common mistakes. Coming right back after this.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of RD Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's get into it right here. The 3 most common mistakes made for the income phase of retirement and how to avoid these mistakes. We're going to start with number 3. Now, again, this comes to us from Schwab's Center for Financial Research, and they say that the 3rd most common mistake is creating an inefficient distribution strategy. Now, in this article, they go into talking about how that it's much more of a challenge to retire successfully than to just hold a group of investments and then to begin selling those investments as needed to pocket the proceeds. They talk about how it's important to understand that timing of the market will impact things. The tax you pay on those investments will impact things, your life expectancy, and the account types that you're pulling that money from. In other words, is it an IRA, a 401k? Is it a 403b or a 457? Or what if it's just a joint account that is not qualified whatsoever for retirement income expenses? How are those things taxed? All of that is very, very important. It talks about not accounting for taxes in your distribution strategy, potentially resulting in much higher taxes later in life through things like RMDs. RMDs, required minimum distributions, will force you to start taking money from retirement accounts at the age of 73. And while that age is changing to 75 over the next few years, it's important to know what year it is that you will be forced to take money from your retirement account and how it's going to impact your tax picture. Because sometimes we've seen RMDs, required minimum distributions from IRAs, be so significant that they push a retiree into a higher than desired tax bracket. And this could not only make you pay more tax on your regular income, but it could make you pay significantly much more money on your Social Security, significantly higher tax on things like long-term capital gains or qualified distributions of dividends from your accounts. And here's another big consideration, and that is IRMA, which is a tax, if we want to simplify it, on Medicare. If you enter into a high enough tax bracket and you've made enough money, even if it's because they forced you to take the money out, you will pay more in Medicare. All of these things are something you need to be aware of and plan accordingly. So how do we plan accordingly? Well, this is what we initially start with in what we call the income plan. How we're going to get the money that you need from your retirement accounts in the most efficient way possible. If you have heard this show at all, you have heard us talk about the 5 worlds of retirement. This particular distribution strategy is directly addressed in our income plan as we begin to unveil your own retirement atlas. The retirement atlas is 5 roadmaps for the worlds that you will find yourself in retirement, the decisions you have to make from income planning to investment planning and tax planning, Medicare and Social Security planning, which we would consider health care pieces, long-term care planning. You also have to make sure that you're setting up your legacy the way you desire. All of this goes into your retirement plan if you work with RD Smothers Wealth Management. We are specialists in the retirement income phase, and the retirement income phase is a very complicated phase of retirement. It is by far the most complicated phase, and there are a lot of things that you have to decide on, and a lot of things that you've got to make sure are done correctly the first time. Setting up a distribution plan is the first step. Now, this is mistake number 3 in the most common mistakes, but it is a mistake that we see often because not so much that you took the wrong thing or maybe you didn't take the right thing, but you just haven't planned at all. Planned for what accounts to take and when. Depleting the right accounts at the right time can save a significant amount of tax. Depleting the wrong accounts at the wrong time can not only hurt you in taxes, it can also derail your entire retirement plan because you may have ran out of money altogether. This is what we address in the retirement income plan. And if you would like to understand this one a little bit more, it takes a personalized approach to build a true distribution plan. You need a personalized approach looking at your accounts and what types of accounts you have, the taxation on those accounts, the dollar amounts in those accounts, and the types of investments that are in those accounts will all govern which accounts to start pulling money from first. And should we be consolidating accounts? Perhaps that is step number one for you. All of this needs to be reviewed and discussed with a retirement income specialist. And if you would like to set up a time for us to help you with that, we'd be happy for you to do so. 270-600-PLAN. We'd love to sit down with you and begin crafting the efficient distribution strategy, if we use the words that were laid out here by the Schwab Center for Financial Research. We would also be able to help you with a very clear understanding of whether or not you can retire based off of this distribution strategy. And perhaps you are not interested in sitting down for a complete hour just yet. And again, no cost to this consultation at the beginning of working with our team. It's a no-cost consultation. But maybe, just maybe, you're not interested in sitting down right now. It's not a good time for whatever reason, and you would like to just maybe have a 10 or 15-minute phone call. Well, we've made a way for that as well. And the good news here is that you can navigate to our website, rdswealth.com, rdswealth.com. Go to the Schedule a Meeting tab, and you will see a place there to set up a 15-minute phone call where you pick the time and day, and someone on our team will call you when it is convenient. When it's convenient for you, we want to discuss this distribution strategy because, again, it is by far the most important piece of the overall retirement plan. Without it, you cannot make decisions necessary to avoid mistake number 2 and mistake number 1. What are mistake number 2 and mistake number 1? Well, they're pretty big. You don't want to miss them. We're going to come right back after this quick break with everything you need to know about collecting Social Security and how to not sell assets in a downturned market. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back right after this.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Matters, presented by R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. If you'd like to speak with us, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. And if you enjoy the information in this show and would like to hear more, you can access previous shows by searching for the Retirement Matters podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. We also produce a weekly newsletter. Receive it free to your email inbox by signing up online at rdswealth.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. And if you're just joining us, you are listening to a show where we are going through the 3 most common mistakes made by those who are entering into retirement and the income mistakes specifically that people make that will result in them potentially running out of money sooner than they would have otherwise. This is from the Schwab Center of Financial Research. And mistake number 3 we just got done discussing was creating an inefficient distribution schedule. Now, we talk a lot about that in our retirement income plan. We also discuss this mistake number 2 in our retirement income plan. We build 5 different plans for a client, how we're going to take income, what accounts it's coming from, and again, addressing the inefficient distribution schedule, making sure we are not falling in that category. Number 2 is our investment plan, and we want to know realistically what types of investments we have and how we're going to invest those assets to protect against market downturns. Number 3, we discuss retirement tax planning, paying only what we absolutely owe to the IRS and not a penny more, paying as little in tax as possible, holding on to that money. And again, it's not about how much money you make in retirement, it's about how much money you get to keep. Number 4, we move to healthcare planning, making sure that you've got your alphabet soup of Medicare all sorted out. We assist you in that and helping with long-term care planning and how we're going to pay for that, keeping the farm intact and not losing it due to a need for health assistance. And lastly, we discuss the legacy plan and where you want this money to go, who you want to benefit from this, and we assist you in building the right estate plans necessary to make it happen. Now, mistake number 2, according to this research done by Charles Schwab, is that more retirees now than ever are collecting Social Security too early. This is based off of the math and the science behind it all. Now, this research goes into saying that, number two, again, the wrong mistake here, the wrong thing to do is to collect Social Security too early. And it gives some reasons as to why. It gives some graphs, some fancy numbers, but it all boils down to this. If you become eligible for 62 benefits and you take it at 62, you will receive 25% less on average in monthly benefits than you would have by waiting to full retirement age. And you will receive roughly 43% less than you would have received had you have waited till 70. Now, if you live a long time in retirement, those Social Security benefits are going to carry some benefits, if I can say it like that, that the retirement income monies from your investments do not have. Namely, things like a cost of living adjustment. We call it the COLA, where based off of inflation, your income increases. The income increases and it's guaranteed for life. The lifetime payment of Social Security is a significant one, especially for those who maybe have a big discrepancy in the amount of Social Security that you will receive between you and your spouse outlives you. There's something called a survivor benefit, and that has to go into account when deciding when to take Social Security. So how do we make sure we don't take it too early? Too early, the word, if I'm using air quotes here, you can't see me, but too early simply means relative to you and your plan and your life expectancy. For someone who's going to pass away at 70 or 75, 62 is probably not too early. For someone who's going to live till 85 and 90, if it's you or your spouse, 62 may have very easily been too early. All of this should be in your retirement income plan. And it's not about making a decision and going with it. It's about making a decision, testing it in a closed environment, which we can do with our retirement income planning software, and seeing if it's the most advantageous way to take Social Security. Put a different way, we can help you establish the most efficient strategy for taking Social Security between you and your spouse. This article talks about delayed gratification, and it says waiting to collect may also help extend the life of your portfolio. And this is very, very true. If you have a desire to leave a legacy behind, then sometimes deferring Social Security can help that desire. By deferring Social Security, we may be able to solve entirely your slow-go and no-go income gaps. And if you're not familiar with what I'm discussing there, we get into that in detail in our meetings. By the way, this first consultation with us and oftentimes the second consultation with us are at no cost to you. This first and second consultation is designed to help understand where you are in the first meeting, to craft behind the scenes a tailored roadmap for you to get you where you desire, and then in the second meeting, be able to meet with you and show you the value that we would add by a partnership coming to fruition. This retirement income plan is the first thing we focus on, and it addresses when you should take Social Security. If you're over the age of 60 years old, it is time to get serious about the retirement income phase, and we can help you do that. The retirement growth phase is behind you. More of it is behind you than is in front of you. And with you being over the age of 60 years old, losses will hurt you more than gains will help you. Losses in the stock market are harder to overcome with less time to overcome them. So how do we make sure that we are minimizing those losses during income phase? How do we make sure we're not performing mistake number one in this research? Well, we're going to get to that right after this next break. 270-600-PLAN is how you would get in touch with our team if you need some assistance in building any type of plan to avoid mistake number 3, which is creating an inefficient distribution strategy, or mistake number 2, which is collecting Social Security too early. We can help you with both of those, as well as mistake number 1. And we will be addressing that right after this break.
It's 4th and 1 with 2 seconds left in the game.
Less than 1 yard separates you from victory. You have the best running back in the league, but your coach calls a Hail Mary. As silly as that sounds, we see a lot of retirement managers being far too aggressive with your investments when a more conservative play would be a better fit. You have questions, we have answers.
Contact R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-7526.
All right, welcome back to the show. The last segment of this show, we are going to be covering mistake number 1, and this is the 3 most common mistakes that retirees make as they approach retirement years. This particular mistake number 1 that many people make, and as a matter of fact, most people make it without the proper plan, is one that can make you run out of money faster than anything else that we have discussed today. Mistake number 3, according to this research done by Schwab's Center for Financial Research, mistake number 3 is creating an inefficient distribution schedule. Now, what that means is that you have not planned properly on which accounts to take money from at what time. We address that specifically in meeting number 1. We discuss the retirement income plan with you, and we help craft that for you as we go throughout our relationship. Mistake number 2 that a lot of retirees make is collecting Social Security at the wrong time. Now, this article says too early, but there is a such thing as taking it too late. Based off of cash flow analysis, we help you assess when you should take your retirement and at what time we would deem to be the most optimal time. Now, beyond that, we do have many clients that we have said this is the most optimal time, but every year we will take a look at it every single year and readdress whether or not we're going to wait till optimal time because life changes, health changes, situations change, need for income changes, and account balances change. We assess that on an ongoing basis, but having a plan for when to take it is extremely important. And we see a lot of people who are approaching retirement income phase and have never really put a plan together for when they need to be taking Social Security or what accounts they're going to be pulling money from. And they may trust their advisor, but if you don't have it making sense to you, it will never make dollars. We believe that mistake number 1 is the result of mistake number 3 and mistake number 2. This is why I've went in reverse order. I could have went straight to mistake number 1 and worked to 3, but having no true distribution strategy or schedule is going to allow this mistake number 1 to creep into your portfolio even more often. And here it is, without further ado. Mistake number 1 that most retirees make is selling assets in a market downturn. Now, what does that mean, Dale? Speak to me in layman's language. What this means is that when the market is down, you still sell securities or stocks to generate the income. Well, what is the alternative, Dale? I mean, what else are we supposed to do? Just because the market's down, do we go to eating beans and cornbread? No. If you put the right plan together for number 3, mistake number 1 does not have to happen. Timing in the market is the most critical thing that you have to watch out for. The downturns in your retirement, if they happen in the first 10 years, they can become critically detrimental to your plan. There are 2 individuals, very quickly, Michael and Linda, that are outlined in this research. Michael experienced a 15% decline during the first 2 years of retirement. Only 15% in the first 2 years, and by year 17, he was out of money. Miss Linda experienced the same 15% decline during her retirement, but it was in year 10 and 11. Again, through that retirement red zone, that first 10 years of retirement, it's extremely important. In year 10 and 11, the same 15% downturn in retirement, and she still had well over half of her portfolio remaining in year 18. In other words, they both started out with $1 million. They were both pulling $50,000, and one ran out of money in 17 years, and one had many years left inside of their portfolio. Why? Because of market downturns. How do you avoid that? You position your portfolio in a way to where whether the market is good or bad, you are okay. And we do that at R.D. Smothers Wealth Management by deploying what we call the risk-on, risk-off portfolio. And if you would like more information about that, head over to kiplinger.com and just simply Google, if you desire, the risk on, risk off portfolio, and you will find what we call the Mr. Miyagi approach to retirement planning. Coupling the risk on, risk off portfolio, our trademarked portfolio management system, with the Retirement Atlas, which is our trademarked process of guiding a retiree from where they are to where they want to be in retirement. We assist retirees in avoiding all three of these most common mistakes that I have read to you in this article published by Schwab's Center for Financial Research. And it all starts with putting together the proper plan. You do not have to sell securities at a loss to generate income in a down market, and we can show you how. And ultimately, with that type of plan, we can show you how to retire the way you desire without worrying about the stock market, without worrying about what your money's going to do, and ultimately live happy in retirement. And just like that, we're at the end of the show. This has went so quick. The 3 big mistakes to avoid when you are planning for retirement. As you enter retirement, mistake number 3 that many people make is creating an inefficient distribution schedule. Mistake number 2 is taking Social Security at the wrong time. And mistake number 1 is selling assets in a downturn market to generate your income. We can help you avoid all 3 of those, and we would love to show you how we do that. It's all tailor-made to you. From where you are right now to where you desire to be, we can help make the roadmaps necessary to get you there. And what's even more important is we're there with you to get you through every step of the way. 270-600-PLAN or navigate over to rdswealth.com and schedule your meeting today. Until we talk again, whether it's right here on this same show or it's in person next time, always remember, save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement. God bless.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and RD Smothers Wealth Management are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. RD Smothers Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by RD Smothers Wealth Management.